Check Podcasts.
Hi, I'm Bruce Williams. Welcome to Chamber Chats. I'm the CEO of the Greater Victoria Chamber of Commerce, and we're doing this, of course, as always, from here in the podcasting studios at Czech Television. I would like to begin, as always, with acknowledging that I live and work on the land of the Lekwungen-speaking nations, the Songhees and Esquimalt nations. And all of this is made possible by the support of Island Savings, a division of First West Credit Union, who are redefining what banking can do for people, for communities, and for the world. Amanda and I live in View Royal. We both spend a lot of time downtown, going to and from, driving and cycling, which means we go through Esquimalt. And we love going through Esquimalt. We love shopping in Esquimalt. There's so much to do there. And in the last number of years, there's been an astounding number of things change about the Township of Esquimalt. And the person who knows that probably better than anybody is the mayor. And that's Mayor Barb Desjardins, who joins us. Barb, how are you?
I'm very well, Bruce. Thank you so much for having me.
So we're going to look back 20 years, first of all, because you first entered council, were voted into council almost 20 years ago. So tell me about the Esquimalt of then and the Esquimalt of now.
There are a lot of things that are still the same. There are many things that have changed. And so what has stayed the same is that palpable sense of community. When you come into Esquimalt, you immediately get embraced in with the people, the caring of the community, and people who move here. When I ask them why Esquimalt, that's the answer. It's the sense of community, and so that is something that we hold close and ensure that as we're making decisions, we are always thinking about how to do that and keep that going. What is different? Wow, the community has changed. If you drive along Esquimalt Road, that is almost immediately you will not recognize the beginning if you entered from the city of Victoria. We have significant development going on that is going to transform and change that corridor. When I first started on council, we were actually the council that put the islands in to beautify. And now that beautification is extending over to the sidewalks, to the developments. And that's, as I say, just Esquimalt Road. We have added a significant infrastructure across the community. We now have the Gorge Pavilion, so a park that was often referred to as sort of really underutilized, not known, is now a focal point for Esquimalt, for visitors and Esquimalt residents as well. And the other thing that you immediately notice in Esquimalt is how much is going on here. When I first came on council, one of the important mandates of council was to try and kickstart or get Esquimalt growing. It had been, I would almost say, stagnant in growth and then shrinking a little bit. And that was because around us communities were growing and we hadn't quite yet hit our stride. I can say that we're well into that stride now.
Oh, you are striding for sure. The number of cranes and things that are evident. When you talk about the boulevards that you put in on the street, you guys put these flowers in the spring and the summertime. They look like big purple dandelions. I don't know what they're called, but they're just the coolest flowers.
Allium.
Allium.
I think it is.
Yeah.
And they're giant allium. And you're not the only one that has noticed those. They seem to be a signature. Our parks department have various areas that they are assigned to. So we may have a gardener that stays in Gorge Park, for example, for years. They have the most amazing ability and interest in those parks that they experiment and really bring things to life. They take ownership of it, and you can see it. Our parks are fantastic.
Sax Point is actually my go-to to go and sit by the water and read a book. Actually, I ride my bike down there, and it's amazing. I want to center in though on a couple of specific intersections where there's projects that are going on that are pretty major. The corner of Head and Esquimalt, that's going to be transformative. Like, oh my gosh, the plan that's coming down there. Tell me about that one.
Well, on that corner, right at the corner, we have an 11-story building that is just about complete. It is architecturally stunning. It is really going to add life to that corner. And kitty corner across from that will also now include, over the next few years, the growth of a 26-story building. And those two will be increasing commercial space, as well as adding services like medical facilities. And so you're getting a hub growth is what's happening there. I see that in the future there will be a lot more growth. Given the density that's happening down the street, there's going to be a lot more interest for commercial space and what goes in there. So the variety of retail that will show up will be a flavor of what else is happening in that area. West Bay is rather unique in its views from any level on Esquimalt Road. And then also the walkway that helps connect us to downtown and the harbor ferries. And so you have the whole package of not only park amenity, but you're going to have that package of what other kinds of amenities do we want? Do we want coffee shops? We need services. What other retail? And so you start to see it now with the growth of some of the local eateries in that area. Stay tuned, because that corner is going to be just a hive of activity. And of course, you've got the French school, École Brodeur, right behind, which also brings that diverse vibe, because the Francophone community is not just Quebec, it's worldwide.
There are another project I want to talk about, a couple of them actually. One of them, though, has sort of transformed sort of a heritage site, if you will, a great, beautiful old property. We're going to talk about that next. Our guest on Chamber Chats today is the mayor of the Township of Esquimalt, Mayor Barb Desjardins. The Old English Inn has been going through a transformation, and that's kind of up and going. Now, tell me about that.
Well, the English Inn part is really almost complete. We're hoping, with fingers crossed, that we'll get the opportunity to go there, at least use the restaurant before Christmas. I know they're trying their hardest to get it ready. Last time I talked to the developer, he was hoping for October, so fingers crossed. The transformation of that building, anyone in the region or anyone listening, so many people had their weddings there, or they have a memory of the Old English Inn. The developer has really worked hard to restore that whole sense, right down to the wood, the paneling, the floors. It is stunning. He has expanded it so that there is our meeting rooms. There will be a dining room. It will be extraordinary dining. There will be a spa. And the rooms are absolutely phenomenal. So everyone has to take a staycation and go to Rosemead when it opens.
Yeah, sounds good. Now, that's Aragon that's done that, correct? They're also the ones who transformed the new town center, where the new library branch is, and there's a pub there now, the Sax Point Pub. Tell me about that, because that's kind of become a hub in the center of town, right?
Oh, very much so. council had the idea that if we could work with the right partner, this area would, because of its proximity to library, to rec center, to grocery stores, etc., really should be the hub. And Aragon came forward with a concept, and we have offices, we have retail space, which we have the pub and our amazing coffee shop, and of course, rental and ownership, condominiums. And the art walk that connects it is going to be extended through the next development back. But there is no time that square is not busy with everything from, we've had pop-up opera to community events. We're hoping to have our Chinese New Year event there again this year. And it even has cycling groups coming to go to the coffee shop, and dog training. So on any given day, you're going to see various different groups coming together. And I just love to go and sit under the tree and watch what has happened that has created such an amazing vibe.
Yeah, not far from that, there's also the corner of Esquimalt and Admirals where the Vista building has come in. There's a new Legion there. There's so much going on. I want to go back, though, and talk about the Gorge Pavilion because our chamber has held events there. It's spectacular. It's historically where the old Japanese tea house was a few generations back. But that facility is world class. I mean, that's a game changer.
Yeah, yeah. And that was a building that we really looked at what is the cultural heritage in that area, and wanted to honor both the Japanese culture as well as the Indigenous culture, because it's a very significant place for Songhees Nation and Lekwungen people. And the pavilion has embraced both cultures to some extent, more so the Japanese culture in terms of its architecture, but there are more and more added touches of that Indigenous space. We have the oldest Japanese gardens on the West Coast in that park, and we really wanted to facilitate the world to come and see that. And this space has been our opener for tourism, for conference, and really has heightened the awareness of that park and we've now added the farmers market as well. And the pavilion is busy day and night, 7 days a week.
Yeah, it's spectacular right on the water. So we've talked about the newer things. I want to talk about a couple of the things that are historic anchors in your community. Esquimalt is the home of the Royal Canadian Navy. Esquimalt is the location for the Victoria Shipyards, the Seaspan facility. So those two entities have a long-standing and strong relationship with the township, right?
Absolutely. The Navy is our community, as part of our community, and we work very hard to make sure that we are working in tandem with them on whatever their requirements are, as well as they are a great partner to have in our community. They are our volunteers, and military people are. I don't know what it is about them, but whether it's just part of their DNA, whether it's part of their training, or the fact that they're constantly moving, and so they reach out and connect with community. But they are gems in our community, and we want to make sure that we are the town that they remember when they have to move on. It's funny that we now have the Gorge Point pub, but for a little while, we heard a lot from military members saying, "You're the only stop for the Navy that doesn't have a pub," and so we worked hard to get that fixed.
Yeah, good work. Nicely done. Um,
C-SPAN is an economic boom generator for us. It jobs, having the graving dock. It's really important. And again, uh, it's part of the community. We pay a lot of attention to our industrial area, and they're important to us as well.
so we want to now start talking about things that are kind of grassroots thing when it comes to actually running the municipality and the kind of things that are going on. We're going to talk about that when we come back. Our guest today on Chamber Chats is Barb Desjardins, who is the mayor of the Township of Esquimalt. Every community has an OCP, an official community plan. It's kind of your roadmap as to where you're going to go and what you're going to do. Tell me about the current status of the Esquimalt OCP.
Well, our OCP was finalized in 2018, and it's now 2024, so it's 7 years old. That, along with the government changes that are required in terms of housing needs assessment and ensuring that your OCP is compliant with Bill 44, we are looking at it. It's a strong priority for council in the next year to um, bring it to a current state. And really, right now, we're engaged in the discussion over the next month or so of how deep can we go, or um, how little do we have to do, or how much do we have to do. Our community continues to wrestle with what does density look like, and so it's important to do that engagement over and over. And as we even see that we're changing beyond our OCP, it's important to make sure that we normalize that OCP back to where the community is now and where it wants to go in the future. 7 years is a significant amount of time, given the 7 years we've just gone through.
Yeah, it's been an exceptional time, that's for sure. You've also created an economic development department, and through them, I know there's been sort of I'm going to call it a branding exercise around Esquimalt and what you are. Tell me about that.
Yes, economic development office has really been, something in the making for a number of years, but capacity-wise, we just didn't have the resource to get there. Um, and it is really our touch point for the world to say we're open for business. Come and talk to us. How do we make it easy for you? What is it you need us to do? It also, we are undergoing that branding, which is to help the world immediately identify us, and let you know in sort of a quick way what our values are and what our opportunities are. So we're really looking forward to that coming back to council for one more look, and then really rolling it out in a big way. It's been something, as I said, that we've been wanting to do for a number of years. We've done a number of soul searches on what is economic development, but the reality has been it's really been me as a major cheerleader, and businesses, our Chamber of Commerce working hard, but not having that connection to government processes and services to really make things happen smoothly and quickly.
And of course, your municipality, your township, bears the name of the Lekwungen Nation on whose land we all live. That is the Esquimalt Nation, or Kusapsum. Tell me about the relationship between the township and the nation.
We strive to do whatever we can in terms of reconciliation. That's just, you have to say that right up front. I think we have a good relationship. We can always do better. What we have done is we have a number of properties in our community that are owned by the two nations, and we have worked to provide whatever services are required in terms of helping them jump through whatever processes are required around those properties to make them successful. We have Salish Seaside RV Haven, which is just a going concern with the nations. And of course, any kind of economic development for the nations benefits our community as well. In terms of relationships, we have a number of projects coming forward that I don't want to speak to at this point, but know that ongoing conversations continue. We've also done a number of artwork projects with nations, and want to continue that as well. And so any opportunities that we have to lift each other up and to share opportunities, mayor and council and our staff are working to keep those corridors open for any opportunity.
So we began this whole thing by talking about what the last 20 years have meant for change. Let's look ahead. Tell me, what will be happening in Esquimalt 20 years from now?
Well, Bruce, I think my answer, this was the hardest thought for me, because one of the things that we've tried to do is ensure that we, as I said at the beginning, keep that sense of community. And so I think that as long as that is held strong, that will continue. And that is the special sauce of Esquimalt. It will build, it will have tall buildings, it will have more commercial opportunities and more services, more people, and therefore more events, more cultural opportunities. So I see it as just being more and more vibrant, more young families coming in. And of course, we always have our gem parks and our recreation facilities. So we're going to have to ensure that we can keep up the levels of service that we have with those as we grow. But given those, everyone knows we have fantastic services in terms of recreation. We have fantastic parks. We have fantastic events. And I just see those growing and continuing and having more people come and experience Esquimalt.
There's a remarkable number of vehicles on the road that have veteran plates on them, and that's because so many people who served at CFB Esquimalt at some time when they retired came back here because of the time that they spent in Esquimalt, because it's such a great place to live. We appreciate your time, Mayor Barb Desjardins. Thanks for being with us today.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity. I always love talking about my community.
And if you want to find out more about Esquimalt, their website is esquimalt.ca. Lots to see there. I'm Bruce Williams. We'll see you again for another Chamber Chat.